Hello and Chag Sameach. Happy Passover. My name is Ariel Gratch. I am a professor of communication and media at Utica College, and this video is for the Utica College community, for friends and family, and for anyone else who wants to hear a holiday story. Now, one of the areas that I teach in is in storytelling, and so today I would like to share a story with you all. This is the story of Dr. Israel Salanter. Now, Dr. Salanter lived in the 19th century in Europe, and he was incredibly well known for his expertise on the 613 mitzvot that every Jew is supposed to follow or adhere to. A mitzvah is something like a good deed, kind of loosely translated, and there are 613 of them. Now, don't worry, you don't have to do them all in one day. Some of them are things that you do every day. So a mitzvah might be to, be nice to your neighbors, be kind to your neighbors. Or another mitzvah might be something that you only do once in a lifetime, like write a Torah scroll. So over your life, you will do many of these 613 mitzvot, these good deeds. And Rabbi Salinger was known as the expert on these mitzvot. So if you had a question about what a mitzvah means, or how best to do the mitzvah, or when is the right time to do a mitzvah, Rabbi Salinger was the person that you would go to. Now, Rabbi Salanter's favorite mitzvot had to do with the holiday of Pesach, Passover, the holiday that we're celebrating right now. Now, I don't know if he just really loved the Passover story, maybe he just really loved having an excuse to clean his house. Whatever it was, these were the mitzvot that he cared about the most. And so during Passover, his community would ask him to oversee the process of baking the Passover matzah, the unleavened bread that we eat during the Seder and during the full 8 days of the holiday. And there was no one better suited to the task than Rabbi Salinger. He made sure that the amount of flour used was the exact right amount, that the time the matzah stayed in the oven was the exact right time, that the temperature in the oven was the exact right temperature for matzah. The matzah that would come out of the ovens that he oversaw was arguably the best matzah that you could ever have. And I know there's that whole thing about matzah being the bread of affliction, and it is, but that doesn't mean that you have to be afflicted while eating it. And Rabbi Salinger's matzah was the best. Now, one year, right before Passover, Europe was hit with a horrible sickness, not unlike what we are currently dealing with today. People were getting sick left and right, and many of them were getting grievously ill. Now, one of the people who was sick was Rabbi Salinger. And his community worried because they knew that Rabbi Salinger was probably going to be too sick to oversee the matzah baking process. And Rabbi Salinger knew this about himself, so he called to him one of his best students. And he brought his student to him and he said, "You must complete the process of making sure that the matzah is cooked exactly how it should be cooked." The student was incredibly nervous. He knew how much care and effort went into overseeing the matzah baking process. So he expressed these fears to Rabbi Salinger. And he said, "What will I do? What'll I do if the oven temperature is not right? What'll I do if the dough is not right? What'll I do if the dough sits out too long or if the matzah stays in the oven too long?" And Rabbi Salinger calmed him down and he said, "Stop. There is only one thing you need to do to make sure that the matzah is kosher. You do this thing, the matzah is kosher. You don't do it, the matzah is not kosher." And he told his student, all you have to do is just make sure that the bakers, the people in charge of making the matzah, make sure that they get paid. If you do that, it will be a kosher matzah. So I wanted to share this story for two reasons. First off, in times like this, we see that people are getting laid off left and right, and people are struggling with everyday, day-to-day tasks. And now more than ever, I think, are those moments where if you can help out others, I think you should. I know that lots of UC students might be struggling right now, and so I'm fortunate enough to have a full-time job, to have not lost my job, and to be able to give back a little bit to my community. And I hope that you will all find ways to give back to your communities, whether it be monetarily or otherwise. The second reason why I'm drawn to this story is because it reminds me of something my own rabbi told me when I was probably around the time that I was preparing for my bar mitzvah. He was teaching us about the 10 Commandments, and he said, the commandments aren't really commandments. They're more like suggestions, as are the mitzvot that we are supposed to follow. They're not commandments that you have to do these things, but suggestions that you probably should do these things. My rabbi said that if you follow the commandments, chances are you will have a pretty good life. But situations occur where it either becomes impossible to follow the commandments, or following the commandments would actually be a bad thing. And what we are supposed to do is judge for ourselves what is best in any given situation. And I think right now is a situation where we can't always follow everything to the T as we might want to. Nothing is going to be perfect in these moments. And so I like this story because it reminds me that so long as you get to the heart of what's important, right? So like last night we had a Seder and we Zoomed with many of my family members. And it wasn't ideal, but it was great. And we got to watch my son go wait at the door for Elijah. And we got to have conversations with our family. And it wasn't perfect, but we did it. And it was fun and it was enjoyable. So in these moments, just finding those ways to, yeah, I can't do this perfectly, but I'm still going to do it my best anyway. So I hope you all have a good rest of your Pesach, a good rest of your week, and we'll see what video I can come up with, or what story I can come up with for next week. Chag Sameach, goodbye, and thank you for watching.